Good morning, student. I, Purnima, welcome you to the class. I'm going to revise a very interesting lesson today, that is my childhood, which is again written by a very famous scientist, APJ Abdul Kalam, who was known by the missile man of our country. Okay, so let me tell you about the author. I think everybody know about him, so nothing to tell much. But then children, I think many people, they are not aware of many facts of Abdul Kalam. So for them, I am going to tell you something about him. Now, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he was the 11th President of India. He was born on October 15, 1931 in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. He studied physics and aerospace engineering and became a scientist. He served the Defense Research and Development Organization and the Indian Space Research Organization for nearly 4 decades. He is known as the Missile Man of India. Kalam was a very popular among the children. He often encouraged them with a high-powered philosophy. Besides, he was an excellent writer also. We read him in detail in his autobiography, Wings of Fire. So children, he had written his autobiography also, and the name of his autobiography is Wings of Fire. Okay, so what is the name of his autobiography? Wings of Fire. Now let me tell you children, what is the difference between autobiography and biography. What is the difference between autobiography and biography? Okay. So, children, in autobiography, the person write about himself, and in biography, something else write about that person or that something about that person. So, this is an autobiography written by him, APJ only, and the name of his autobiography is Wings of Fire. Obviously, he was a true nationalist. He died on July 27, 2015 due to cardiac arrest. What is the meaning of cardiac? Heart. Now, children, beside every chapter there is a theme of the lesson. So, I am going to tell you about the theme of this lesson also. The theme of this story reflects on the harmony and prejudice present in the Indian society. This influencing theme is expressed through the accounts of Kalam's childhood. In fact, we can rise in life if we have a strong determination and destination. So, there is a short summary. First of all, I would like to tell you about the short summary about this lesson, about the background, and then I will be continuing this lesson. Okay. So now I will be telling you about the background of the story, the introduction of the lesson, and then few important points of the lesson. So introduction. So children, my childhood is an extract taken from the autobiographical books Wings of Fire by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So children, this whole lesson is taken from Wings of Fire. It is an autobiography written by APJ Abdul Kalam, and children, this whole my childhood is an extract from the book Wing of Fire, which is an autobiography written by APJ Abdul Kalam. In this book or in this extract, Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was one of the greatest scientist of India and the 11th President of India, known by the name Missile Man of India, gives an account of his childhood days. So what he had told about you all in this book about his childhood days. His journey from a middle class family in Rameshwaram to the President House. Children, in this book Wing of Fire, he has written about his childhood, his journey. He was born in a middle class family, and then finally how in the Wings of Fire he had written that how he had gone to the President House. That means he became the 11th President, and of course he got the President House to live. has not been a smooth ride. No doubt he had gone to live in a peasant house. He was the 11th president of India, but he had seen lots of up and down in his way. It was not a smooth life for him. He had to fight many challenges, he had to accept, he has to struggle throughout his life. He worked hard and faced all the challenges of life. So he worked very hard and he faced all the challenges of life. This great scientist and missile man of India was born in a Muslim family. So children, this great scientist and missile man of India, he was born in the Muslim family in the island town of Rameshwaram. So where he was born? He was born in the island town of Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. In his childhood, he was greatly influenced by his parents. So in his childhood, he was greatly influenced by his parents, his teacher and his friends. His father, Jamulabuddin, was not much educated, but children, he was a very kind and generous person, and he wanted that all his children should be highly educated person. So, but he himself was a very kind and noble and generous person. He was not rich, but provided a secure childhood to his children. He was not rich, a simple person with not enough earning, but children, he had provide all the basic need to his children and a secure childhood to his children. Abdul inherited honesty and self-discipline from his father. Now children, this is also a very important point. Abdul had children, he had inherited honesty and self-discipline from his father and faith in goodness and deep kindness from his mother. So children, he had got faith in goodness and deep kindness from his mother. Kalam first wages. Now children, Kalam earned his first wages by helping his cousin Samuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram. So children, his cousin, he distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram. So from with his help, he had earned his first wages. Kalam is asked not to sit among high caste students. So children, Kalam in his childhood, he had 3 very close friends, and children, all his friends were coming from a typical Hindu family with full of tradition. So in his childhood, he had 3 close friends, Ramanatha Sastri, Arvindan and Shiv Prakash. Once he was in 5th class, a new teacher asked him not to sit in the front seat along with Brahmin boys. Abdul found Ramanatha Sastri weeping as he went to the last row. This made a lasting impression on Abdul. Kalam teachers break social barrier. Abdul was also greatly influenced by his science teacher Shiva Subramaniam Iyer. He learned the lesson of breaking social barrier from him. Iyer invited him to his house for a meal. His wife was an Orthodox Brahmin who refused to serve food to a Muslim boy in her so-called ritually pure kitchen. Iyer served him with his own hands and sat down beside him. The next time when Abdul visited the house of Shiv Subramaniam, his wife served him with her own hands. Thus he was successful in changing the conservative attitude of his wife. Kalam wants to go to Ramanathapuram. Now children, for higher education, Kalam has sought permission from his father to leave Rameshwaram and do his further study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. His father said, Abdul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? So children, a very nice message he has given to his son. Now children, once again the main points of the story I would like to tell you. Kalam was born in 1931 in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. Jainuddin was his father and Ashyamma was his mother. The whole family lived in an ancestral house. He collected newspaper bundle from the moving train and earned 1 anna per day. He learned faith in goodness and deep kindness from his mother, and discipline and generosity from his father. Ramanathan Sastri, Arvindam and Shiv Prakashan, all the three friends belonged to the Orthodox Brahmin family. Kalam family participated in the annual Sri Sita Ram Kalyanam ceremony. Kalam, though they were Muslim, but they were in very excited manner, they have participated in this Hindu ceremony. Kalam mother and grandfather narrated a story of Ramayana as well as the Prophet Muhammad's life. When he was in the 5th class, a new teacher at school made him sit on the back bench because he was a Muslim. The science teacher, Shiv Subramaniam Iyer, motivated him and grew above the barrier. After World War II, he went to Ramanathapuram for further studies. His mother was hesitant, but father encouraged him. Dr. APJ Kalam was elected the 11th President of India. So children, we have discussed the background of this story, and now children, I will be reading and doing the explanation of the lesson. So now I am going to read the lesson, My Childhood. Before you read, can you think of any scientist who have also made statements? Okay, so yes, there are many scientists, and one of them, of course, is APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, APJ Abdul Kalam, whose project in space, defense, and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. So, children, he became president in 2002, and he guided India in space, nuclear technology, okay, and of course children, and defense technology. So children, these three are the things in which he guided the whole country. So we can say he is the most genius person of our country. Now, in his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he speaks of his childhood. So he is speaking of his childhood in Wings of Fire. Now I'm going to start reading the chapter. I was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras. So erstwhile is former. What is the meaning of erstwhile? Erstwhile means former. So what APJ Abdul Kalam is telling? He is telling he was born in the middle class family, okay, in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father, Jainuddin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom. Innate is inborn. So what is the meaning of innate? Inborn. So he is telling, and now he is telling something about his father. He already told us that he was born into a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father Jainuddin had neither much formal education. Okay, formal is children customary, the beginning. So customary education. So children, his father did not had customary education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. So his father was neither not educated and a true generosity of spirit, and he wanted to see the true but he had a true generosity of spirit. He was the epitome of generosity and a noble person. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother. Children, ideal is a model. So children, his helpmate came in the form of his mother, Ashiamma. So children, Ashiamma was the name of his APJ Abdul Kalam mother, and Jainuddin was the name of his father. I did not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. Now children, his mother was really a very nice lady. He is telling so many people came and ate. So many people came and ate, but and sometimes children, the number of the people whom his mother used to feed, they used to be there more than his family member. But his mother, she used to feel very happy, and children, she used to serve them the food, and she never used to let anybody out without a food. I was one of many children, a short boy with a rather undistinguished look. Undistinguished is not special. Undistinguished. Not special. Now he is telling he had a many brother and sister, and he was the person with an undistinguished look. He did not look very handsome, just only a simple and a normal look he had. Born to tall and handsome parents, while as both of his parents were tall and handsome, but he was born with a simple look. We lived in our ancestral home, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. So children, he lived in the ancestral home which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large pakka house made of limestone and bricks. Now children, that was almost a pakka house of 19th century, of the middle of the 19th century, and was made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. My austere father, austere is without, used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxury. So children, his father did not provide any luxury and any other items to Jainuddin or APJ Abdul Kalam. His father did not provide. He avoided all type of inessential comforts and luxuries of life. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. Children, all the luxurious items were provided for in terms of food, medicine and clothes. So only basic needs were fulfilled. It was provided in the form of children clothes, food, medicine. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So children, he is telling that whatever was there, but it was a secure childhood, though they did not have enough facilities given by their father, but children, their childhood was very secure and secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. Now he is telling about the Second World War. The second World War broke about in 1939 when I was 8 years old. Now he was 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seed and sell them to a provision shop. Now children, suddenly there was a demand for tamarind seed. He was not aware why this tamarind seed was suddenly demanded. I used to collect the seed and sell them to a provision shop on Mars Street. A day collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. Now children, when he used to sell one day tamarind seed, used to cost him 1 anna. Children, at that time anna was there instead of rupees. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines of Dina Mani. Now children, his brother in-law Jalaluddin would tell him stories about the war, and which I would later attempt in trace to the headlines of Dina Mani. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. Now children, his area was isolated, but it was not very much, was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces. But soon India was children forced to join the Allied. What is the meaning of Allied? Allied means combined. Okay, so India was forced to join the Allied forces. And sometime like a state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So first casualty came in the form of the suspension. Suspension is contemporary stopping. Okay, so children, let me tell you further what happened. So children, we were doing my childhood. In that I told you that he was in the APJ Abdul Kalam was born in a middle class Tamil family, and where he was born in the island town of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father Janaluddin had neither much formal education, and he was not even very rich, but he gave all the facilities to APG and his brother and sister. His mother was a very noble, generous lady with full of hospitality. Whoever used to come to their house, she never used to go there without having food. Okay. When the Second World War broke out, I'm reading stanza 3. When the Second World War broke out, children, it was in 1939 when APJ was 8 years of age. Okay, so he had never been able to understand why that. For reason I had never been able to understand, a certain demand for tamarind seed erupted in the market. So children, all of a sudden a certain demand of tamarind seed was there in the market, and he was not aware why this has happened. But I used to collect the seed and sell them to provision shop on Mask Street. But whatever was the matter, he doesn't know. But APJ Abdul Kalam, he used to collect the tamarind seed, and children, he used to sell them in a provision shop on Mask Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. So whenever children he used to sell those tamarind seeds, he used to have 1 anna. Okay, that's the tamarind seed he used to have 1 anna. Okay, which was a large amount of money for him. Now my brother-in-law Jalauddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headline of Dinamani. And children, his brother-in-law Jalaluddin, he used to tell him something about the war stories, and which he would like to see or trace in the headlines of Dinamani. It is the name of the newspaper. So our area being isolated was completely unaffected by the war. Now he is telling his area was isolated and it was unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the allied forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. But children, something like the state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt. So first casualty came in the form of a suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. The newspaper now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanuskodi. And children, since the train no stoppage was there, so children, the people who used to sell the newspaper, how they used to collect the newspaper. So children, the bundle was thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanuskodi. That forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to carry the bundle. Now children, his um, Shamsuddin was the person who used to sell the newspaper. Okay, and his cousin, he need a helping hand because children, there was no stoppage and they used to throw the bundle. So he filled the slot. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Samsuddin children had a deal with the APJ Abdul Kalam. He told, I will give you salary, but you have to give me your helping hands. And definitely children, he gave helping hands to his cousin Samsuddin. So in that way he earned his first salary. I filled the slot. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. And children, half a century later, he was still very much children surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. He was children rise. There was a rise of pride in APJ Abdul Kalam's. He was children. He was feeling very happy to earn his wages for the first time. Now, stanza 4. Every child is born with some inherited characteristic into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment. So, every child is born with some inherited characteristic into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment, and trained in certain way by figures of authority to inherit it on honesty and self-discipline from my mother. So children, he is telling every child has inheriting something from his father, even he, and from his parents. So here this is very important stanza paragraph here. Here APJ Abdul Kalam is telling that what he had inherited from his parents. So he had inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. So he had inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father and from my mother. I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did we, three brothers and sister. And children, he was having three brothers and sister. So even they children inherited goodness and deep kindness uh, from honesty and self-discipline from my father. And children, they have inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness from the mother. I had three close friends. Now children, this is also a very interesting part of his childhood, that APJ Abdul Kalam is now telling something about his very best friends. So children, he was having three best friends in his childhood. They were Ramanatha Shastri. So first friend name was Ramanatha Shastri. The other was okay, and he was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple. Now children, he was the main priest of the Rameshwaram temple, and the name of Ramanatha Shastri's father was Pakshi Lakshman Shastri, the main priest, and he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Later on, his friend became the main priest, which he inherited from his father. And the children, one of his other friend was Arvindan, and third friend was Shiv Prakashan. So, and as you can see the name also, they were from the Orthodox Hindu Brahmin family. So when he was a child, as a children, none of us ever felt any differences amongst ourselves because of our religious differences. Okay, so when he was child, he did not felt children any differences. Okay, though APJ Abdul Kalam was from a proper Muslim family. These were from the typical Brahman Hindu family, but they did not had any differences. They were the best friend. Now, children, the Ramananda Shastri, he became the priest. He took his father place when his father was retired, and Arvindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. So, children, those pilgrims who used to come to Rameshwaram, okay, so he used to he used to children provide transport for visiting pilgrims. And Shiv Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railway. So what children Shiv Prakashan is doing which work? He became a catering contractor in the Southern Railway. So children, all his friends were settled. So Ramanatha Shastri, he became the priest of Rameshwaram temple. Then Arvindam, he used to arrange for tourist buses transport for the visiting pilgrims. And Shiv Prakashan, he became the catering contractor in the Southern Railway. And of course, no need to say what Abdul Kalam became, the 11th president of our country. So, in this paragraph, children, there was no caste war, there was no religious war. All his friends were Hindu, and he was from the typical Muslim family. But then there was everything was all right. This thing was not in their mind that he is a Muslim and they are Hindu. So. Children, one more thing proves that children, it was the parents, so how they used to support Hindu religious ceremony. During the annual Sri Sita Ram Kalyanan ceremony, our family used to arrange boards with a special platform for carrying ideas of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site. So children, during the annual Sri Sita Ram Kalyanam ceremony, a ceremony used to be there, Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony. Our family used to arrange boards with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Rama Tirth. A children pond was there and that place was there where they have to carry the idols. They arranged boards with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pool called Rama Tirtha, which was near our house. Even from the Ramayana and from the life of the Prophet Mother, where the bedtime stories my mother and grandfather would tell the children in our family. Not even that, children, even the ladies of the house, though he was belonging from the typical Muslim family, his mother and his grandmother, when they were at night when they were about to sleep, they used to tell the stories from Ramayana and from the stories of Prophet Muhammad. So children, you can see that at that time how nicely the parents were teaching their child no caste bar, no religious bar, and how nicely children, the best friend lives was, they were supporting each other. They never thought that he is a Muslim or he is a Hindu. They are Hindu. So in this way, children, you can see that how happy they were leading the life. Okay. So with this I conclude my video here. Now next of the lesson will be explained in the next video. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.